If you see a description of the function called indirect, it's unlikely that you'll find it very useful. It's one of those lookup and reference functions. As we slide over it here from the Formulas tab in the ribbon, indirect is described as returns the reference specified by a text string. Many examples use something like this. In a certain cell, you've got a cell address displayed, and you want to be able to get the content of that cell. Maybe this is set up in such a way that it's dynamic. If we type the function indirect and then refer to that cell, we won't get a C3, we'll get the contents of cell C3. So how useful is this likely to be? In this particular workbook, this worksheet called Indirect 1 has formulas in these cells here that gather data from 4 other sheets, East, South, Midwest, and West. They're all in the same workbook. As we take a look at one of these formulas in cell B3, we see that we're adding up data from each of the B3 cells in the East through West sheets. East, South, Midwest, and West is the notation style that we're using there to refer to all of those sheets. Now, what we also want to have here is the total found on each of those sheets. For example, on the East sheet, we've got a grand total there in cell G6, and we'd like to have that be displayed right here. And we have the same situation for South and Midwest and West. Now, imagine if this structure were set up for 50 different states. Putting in one of these formulas isn't so bad. Putting in 4 of them maybe isn't so bad. But there should be a way to write this formula in such a way that we could just copy it down the column. So let's begin with a simple idea. We're only writing one formula for the moment, and we want to get the total out of the East sheet. Type equal, click on the East sheet, then click the cell in question, G6, and press enter. And we have an answer. Now, that's gathering data from another sheet. If we drag this downward, we're not going to be getting data from the South or the Midwest sheets. We'll be getting data from other cells on the East sheet. So there ought to be a way to do this. So it would be great if there were a way to do this, and the indirect function will give us that capability. What I'm going to do first is double-click this cell and highlight this portion of it, press Control-C, escape, and paste it over here as simply text. I'll put in a leading space and then a Control-V. Keep it there for reference. We don't need the C3 here anywhere. We'd like to be able to create the same kind of structure here that we see in cell F9. So I'm going to use the function indirect. And in order to mimic that construction that we're seeing for the moment sitting over there in cell F9, I'm going to grab the data from A9. And of course, that's the word East. And we want to combine this with the remainder of that formula, which would be and that means gather other data to put next to the East, double quote, exclamation point, G6. On all the other sheets, the grand total we need is in cell G6. And as we put in the double quote, then right parenthesis and enter, we have an answer. And as we drag this downward, we have answers for the other sheets as well. Now, when you look at the formula itself, here's the one for Midwest, for example. We don't know necessarily whether that's accurate. Just a quick look will verify that. We don't see the word Midwest in here, but that is exactly what's occurring. And if we jump over to Midwest, the total, 17,930, there it is. So you can see how the function works particularly well in this situation, and imagine how powerful it would be if we had a model here based on either 12 months or 50 states. This is the way to get it done quickly with the indirect function.